Yay, there's a Zerg.
Yes.
In the top right. Yay, there's a Zerg.
Yes.
In the top right, we have Bojack in the yellow colors. The Zerg player.
And in the bottom left, we got West Coast Marine, the blue Terran.
Cool. Let's see if I can write them.
Do you know any of these players?
Nope.
I think
I
they're
do
in
not.
tier 2 or around that level in the placement matches.
Uh-huh.
So it'll be interesting to see what we see from them. I think I've seen Bojack play and he was pretty aggressive in the previous CPL, but I don't know West Coast Marine at all.
Yeah. And the map is Fighting Spirit, for anybody wondering.
Yeah, it's a pretty standard map, and it was all Group 1 games were played on Fighting Spirit, so it was pretty, I think, welcoming to new players. They didn't have to really learn a new map, they just got to play FS.
Yeah. So Bojack is starting with an Overlord, so it's not a 9 pool.
Yeah, and it
which
looks
is
like West.
probably good because he's cross positioned, so a 9 pool might not do as much damage.
Yeah, West Coast Marine is walling, so that would also slow at least a 9 pool, or maybe even just block it completely.
If he puts a factory to the right of the Terran barracks, it's a link tied wall, right?
Oh, okay, I think you're right about that actually.
And he's taking the gas, so it's a tech build.
Yeah,
And 12
definitely.
hatch from Bojack, also sending a scout drone out now.
Yeah, so it'll be important for him to get that drone in the base to see the gas.
11 pool and 10 gas, so it's a 2 hatch muta build, most likely. 2 hatch something build.
So for me, 2 hatch, the game will most likely end faster. What do you think?
Yeah, 2 hatch is definitely aggressive. Okay, Bojack should have figured out now that his opponent is cross positions. His gas is done, but he isn't mining it yet. Ah, there we go.
So what's the timing for the lair if he's doing 2 hatch? It should be right away.
Yeah, with the first 100 gas. It depends when exactly you put the gas down.
But it seemed like you knew 10 gas it has to be a 2 hatch refill.
Yeah, exactly, because he didn't build a hatchery before he took the gas. He built the
Okay.
gas right after the pool. He didn't build anything before.
And
So the layer started and 4 links are out. Let's see if they can deny the SCV from coming up into the base. That would be nice.
Oh, this is good. Oh, it sneaks in.
Gets past.
So now for me, when I always see this fast lair, I'm still concerned, is it some kind of lurkers? But it looks like he got in the main, he's checking the natural, so he must be able to tell it's got to be mutas now.
Yeah, I mean, mutas are just much more common, it seems. Like, lurkers are very niche.
Double starports going down.
Oh yeah, we're getting wraiths. Or a lot of dropships.
Yeah, a lot of dropships and 1 racks of production. That'd be interesting to see.
Gonna drop the SCVs.
So it'll be Wraith versus Muta and maybe some Scourge in here. Who do you think is favored in this build? I don't think we see this, at least I don't see this very often.
Well, if he gets his cloak fairly quickly, then it's often the problem that you go to his base with the mutas not knowing that it's wraiths yet. And if they get their cloak up, and you don't have overload speed, obviously, so it's hard if they manage to get a moving shot on you and then they can kill a lot of mutas.
Yeah, that's true.
We see already the Hydra Den blocking a little bit, so maybe he's scared of like a speed vulture run by or something like that.
Yeah, which is a smart move. There's only one vulture out, but you always got to be uh, defensive against those vultures because you don't really know how many there are. Now this
Yeah,
Overlord is right outside the Terran base, so it should have been able to scout the lack of a command center and
yeah,
that there was only one vulture out. So
yeah. So
Zerg must be able to put him on some kind of one base build.
yeah, if I was Zerg player, I would think it's either the vulture drop or to starport wraith. Because I haven't seen a second vulture in front of my base, so it's
Mm-hmm.
probably not the. But the vulture was really sleeping, letting that third base come up. He should
Yeah,
position it so that he can catch that.
yeah, I agree. That was kind of a misplay there from the Terran, but his wraiths are getting in here and they've killed 2 overlords already, so the Zerg is pretty supply locked, but he does have a Hydra out, so he's able to kind of chase those wraiths.
Yeah.
More wraith coming in, and it looks like he is going for that cloak. But at
Yeah.
least the Protoss knows, right?
There's no Protoss in the game.
I mean the Zerg, I'm sorry. There's no Protoss in the game, it's very true.
Yeah, getting some damage in the main now. The Hydras were in the split.
Now what do you think of this upgrading armor as a Zerg right now? Do you think that's going to work out?
I'm not quite sure what the plan is there. I assumed that the evolution chamber was to put down a spore so that you can move out eventually. Because if you build enough Hydras, then there comes a point when you can move out. And if there's no siege mode yet, which we know that there is, but if there isn't, then you can do quite some good damage with a push. But the race will counter in your base if you move out with the Hydras. So what I often do is I get a spore in both mineral lines, and then I move out with like a group of Hydras.
Yeah.
To see if I can punish the Expo.
Now does the Zerg have his upgrades on his Hydra list? Can you tell?
He's got speed.
Okay.
I didn't see range. I don't think he has range. West Coast Marine is building his command center in base. I don't know why. He has such a good map control and scouting. He should know what's up.
Yeah, I hate building command centers in base just because it takes a little bit more APM to actually transfer your SCVs and float that command center over. But it is definitely the safer play. But I think you're right. Expanding in your base at this time is not really necessary when you have all these wraiths out on the map.
Also, we don't see Overlord speed being researched, so really the Zerg is not able to move out.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that upgrade wasn't taken maybe over this armor upgrade. That's what I was considering.
I think that maybe he built the evolution chamber for spores, then decided he didn't really need them, and then found a new use for the evo chamber.
Yeah, I think that's right. Now this
Now
is some pretty nice Wraith Micro here, and he's taking out all the Hydralisks. And the Hydralisks, maybe they don't have range, I'm not sure. They did get funneled into a little area by a cliff without an Overlord there. And it looks like he's lost all of his Hydralisks now, at least at that one expansion.
There's no Hydralist in production anymore, and he's supply blocked pretty heavily. So he has the 4 Hydras.
Oh, but he's caught these Wraiths, and he might be doing something else because he lost one of those Wraiths. And now he's running over some spores, which he's going to want to retreat from right away. I gotta say, this is a very APM intensive build from Terran because you're constantly moving those Wraiths around. And he's doing a pretty good job of it. He's got a lot of racks up in his base. I don't think he's upgrading his Marines at all because he's lifted his engineering bay.
Yeah, I think there will be a big push coming in the next 1 or 2 minutes with the Marine Medic.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that... I mean, there's a lurker upgrade done, but I don't know of any lurkers anywhere.
Yeah.
And if he starts morphing those Hydras, then definitely his main is exposed to the Wraiths again. Because he doesn't have a lot of Hydras.
He is getting Sunkens, turning them in. I mean, he is getting Spores, so a couple of his bases are locked down, but I think you're right. He needs those Hydralisks to defend his main at this time. He's slowing down some extra hatcheries. He knows a push is coming. I don't think, yeah, I think Lurkers are a great counter to this composition from the Terran, but it's going to be a matter of can he get them out in time and can he get enough of them.
Some quite good drone damage at third. But he also lost some of his Wraiths. He's pretty aggressive with his Wraiths. I feel like Wraiths shouldn't really do straight up fights. Like they're so vulnerable to damage, and with 2 spores there, it was nice at the beginning, but then he had 2 spores shooting at them at the Wraiths, and then that's really far too much.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even do that with Mutas, and they're way beefier. So the Lux are in morph, not quite halfway done, but the Marine Medic is going to the other base, where the lone Hydra has got a tremendous drop.
Oh no, and the Hydra gets killed pretty much right away, and now the Marine Medic are streaming into that third base.
Yeah, 2 Lurkers finish in that, 3 Lurkers. They're gonna run down. Let's see how he manages. No scan. That's scan.
Oh no, those are some big Lurker spies. Yeah, he's gonna lose all these Marines, it looks like. Oh.
If the hatch might go down. Yeah. He's found a spot.
Yeah, he should try to target that hatch, but he's playing a little cautious now, and the Lurkers are just gonna run up and kill this, I think. But he's moving out with his second push across the middle. Oh, and all these Marines getting trapped. The Lurkers ran right by the Marine Medic in the middle of the map, but the Marines are now chasing those Lurkers. He's gonna try to burrow them in a nice choke point here, but he might lose the first one. And if he loses the second Lurker, it becomes a lot easier to clean up. And yeah, the Marines are kind of surrounding it, but no scan here.
There's also no luck in the net. It looks like the M&M army is going to go there next. There's 1 Sunken and a Hydra hidden under the Overlord cloud.
And siege tanks are out now. So those are going to be good to counter this Lurkers. He does need, I think, science vessels, which it looks like he's producing 1 right now.
Ah, yeah, there's 1 burrowed in front of the natural of the Terran. I didn't notice that one.
Yeah, it ran right by that Marine Medic that's outside the natural of the Zerg.
So it seems that West Coast Marine isn't very confident with killing Lurkers with a scan and then them. Because single Lurkers, especially when they don't have a ramp or something to choke up the Marines, they can very easily be killed.
And here's a push going into the natural of the Zerg with the Marine Medic of the Terran, and it looks like the Zerg has just enough Hydras to kind of overwhelm.
Yeah. So the Zerg, in my opinion, should take at least 1 of those Lurkers and bring it to his natural from his third, because he has 3 on that ramp, and 2 are usually more than enough, especially since West Coast Marine has trouble killing Lurkers. Probably 1 would be enough at the top of the ramp to scare him off an attack there. But now in the natural, a lot of Lurkers finish, so Bojack is very safe now. Dividing the burrows. Yeah.
Uh-oh, and these Marines need to pull, and they all get basically eviscerated by those spines.
Yeah, really good damage from Zerg. But I don't like the move so much to run at the Marines like that.
Yeah, that was risky, but it definitely paid
Yeah.
off. He's kind of low on links, I would say.
So consume is almost done and the defilers are building, so we're getting all of the good high-tech units. Ideally just burrow the lurkers somewhere and then bring over the defilers and start pushing towards the net. West Coast Marine is also taking a third, which is absolutely undefended, so if the Zergling checks...
Uh-oh. Yeah, and the Scourge just go in there and get suicided against the Marine Medic and don't kill the vessel. I feel like
Counting
Zerg
Scourge.
and their Scourge control is never good, because I guess it takes too much attention to like try to micro them.
Also, it's impossible to get the vessel when you don't have the Marines.
Yeah, when it's under Marines like that, definitely impossible.
The first Dark Swarm.
Ooh, and this is a good spot for Zerg, I think, because if your first Dark Swarm is like this close to the Terran natural, you can actually push in. Usually their first Dark Swarm is in their own natural, and they're playing more defensively, but I guess he is only on 3 bases right now.
Yeah, the Science Vessel hasn't irradiated. Should definitely go and find that defiler.
And he's sieging on all, I mean, he's spurring on all those siege tanks.
So, doesn't he have irradiate? Oh, yes, he's searching. He forgot.
Oh no, he has plenty of energy on that one vessel, but he's being forced back here by this Dark Swarm and Lurker combination.
Irradiate is a little bit more than half done. 3/4 done now. But he has nothing to stop the defiler without irradiate. With all these armor upgrades that the Zerg invested in, Ultralisk would also be a nice switch now.
Yeah, he might need an extra base, but he definitely has a lot of minerals and gas. The Terran seems a little gas-starved. It would have been nice to see more vessels, I think, and less tanks, considering he already had 2 starports. But I guess he was afraid of this Lurker amount, but now the Zerg's totally in his natural expansion with Lurkers under Dark Swarm, and that's pretty much like, there's nothing Terran can do now.
Yeah, and he's irradiating the Lurkers, not the defiler, which is not the right target in my opinion, because there's only one defiler. And Here comes Scourge.
Oh, and they get 1 vessel, and now they're gonna get 2 more. Yeah, that defiler is doing a lot of damage, working as like a force multiplier for the Lurkers.
Yeah, once these links are there, the defiler has something to eat again, and it'll be pretty much over. He gets irradiated, finally. And he's not fast enough to cast another. Okay, so it's still over.
Yeah. Now the Lurkers are getting onto the barracks and the Terran production, and there's really nothing the Terran can do to fight this amount of Lurkers right now.
Yeah. I felt like West Coast Marine really had this game, so his opening got a lot of damage with the Lurker, with the Overlords and so on, and his transition to the Marine Medic was really strong. But somehow he didn't manage to get the damage with the M&Ms.
Yeah, the Zerg managed to defend that 3rd base just in time and was able to take the win by turning the game into a bit of a longer game and making Terran play with a composition other than just Wraiths.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the Marine Medic control was the problem for West Coast Marine, because if you stim those up and focus down the Lurkers, those moves then the base is dead, the third base is dead. And of course, not to let the third base come up so easily, because the Vulture would have denied that. There wasn't any way the Zerg should have expanded at that point.
Okay, well, I'm hosting the second game now. I actually hosted it and started on accident.
I'm in the lobby.
Okay, cool.
In the bottom right corner, we have our favorite Zerg player, Bojack.
Yeah, and in the top left, we got Mars playing as Terran.
I'm right to them, if I can find Mars.
Oh, you're pinging them? I thought you were like writing down the results.
No, I'm writing in the streams chat of CPL that we are starting to cast the game.
Yeah, that's nice. Like individually.
Yeah.
Well, I think Bojack will go for 2-hatch Muta again, just because that seems to be like just an opening that you use, not necessarily like he's confined to going Mutas first, because he did that last game and actually went with Hydras. But this Terran is also walling off, so we might see some Wraith play again from Terran, or maybe just straight up mech.
Yep. I don't think this is link tied.
No, this
Even
one
with
won't
the barracks in a factory.
Yeah, I don't think it will, because you're gonna have to place this barracks next to this this supply depot.
Yeah.
Or I guess you could place it here, and then your factory will build outside maybe? Or there will be a gap always to the left.
He's definitely taking the gas. So it's another tech build from Terran. Meanwhile, the 12 hatch is down. And the drone scout is coming, so it's all the same from Bojack. Going for his pool again on 11 supply. Let's see if he'll go for the gas immediately. Yes. So it's the same build so far. 2 hatchery, probably Muta build.
So I wonder if this game was played before or after he took all that damage to 2-port Wraith, and if he decides to change his defense a little bit. He did look pretty comfortable in like the mid and late game though, in the last game. It was just that damage he took early on that kind of slowed him down.
Yeah. Yeah, it was nice how he used defilers and cast swarms and so on. That's not something the lower level Zergs all do.
Yeah, that's not easy to do, for sure.
Yeah.
And he's taking guys off gas, so I would assume not 2-port, and maybe he's going for an expansion. For the Terran player.
Where's the drone going? Did he miss it?
No, I think he did see the wall and then decided to back off.
Yeah, but now he's going to bottom left.
Maybe he's taking an expansion. Let's see.
Yeah, maybe. SCV is taking a lot of damage against 4 links already. Yeah, now it's dead. Come on, links, you can do it.
Who are you rooting for in this game?
I guess for Zerg.
And the Terran's managing to get his SCV away so far. But it's definitely down to 1 HP, so... all it takes is one hit from these Zerglings.
And Zerglings are a little bit faster than SCVs, so if you spam click, then you can get out and attack every now and then. So if you micro this, you can get the hit. If you just A click on the
Oh.
SCV, you will. There's Vulture, Patrol, Micro.
Yeah, so we're seeing a little bit where the Zerg player, like you said, just kind of clicked on the SCV and then forgot about the Lings, and so he wasn't able to get him. Where
Yeah, and the creep colony isn't up yet, so the SCV maybe
oh
can do
no,
some damage. It's
the
just started.
Vulture. Yeah.
If he dares.
Oh, but the drones are blocking it pretty well. That's some nice micro here, but he might just lose one right now. Yeah.
Yeah. You can force so many links and just park it behind the mineral line there. 9-9. That went better than it could have for the Zerg.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes that's like a game-ending move if you get a Vulture into your main.
Yeah, but to be fair, that takes a lot of control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did show some nice control, but it's pretty hard to micro that Vulture once you get behind the mineral lines. It's almost like you're giving up the Vulture to Nufflings.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's
But he
taking some
definitely
damage.
forced links, so
Yeah,
that's
and
good.
he's got another Vulture out, just kind of cleaning them up, and he's even got a bunker, so he's super safe against these Lings. It's just a matter of, is he going to be prepared for the mutas that are going to come out?
Yeah. If they're coming, I don't know. The Spire is done and there's no mutas making.
Yeah, he's
It's
making
building
more
more drones.
drones. Yeah. He's kind of supply blocked right now.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing the first Goliath out so far for the Terran player. He's got an engineering bay, he's constructing some turrets around his base, and he's getting that armor upgrade first for the Goliath.
Yeah, so if the 2H muta build was on point, then the mutas would fly in maybe 610 or so.
Yeah.
So 20 seconds ago, and that would have been a problem.
So maybe that
But
Vulture did just, slow them down just enough.
yeah, and the supply block, that was really big. He couldn't build any mutas.
He's got, it looks like 4 mutas out right now. He is taking that, oh, he's got 3 more coming from the bottom left, so he's starting to mine from that bottom left base he's constructed.
Yeah. The Charon boosters are almost done for the Goliaths, so they'll get range really soon.
Some nice micro, he's able to pick off a few lanes without taking too much damage on his Vulture, on his Mutalisk. But once that Charon upgrade finishes, which it has finished, the Goliath has so much range and is able to push away these mutas pretty easily, I think.
Yeah, and he's even floating the barracks now for some vision, so the mutas can't camp on the high ground there.
Still on 2 factories, but that upgrade has finished. Let's see how many Goliath. You like to have maybe 12 Goliath when the upgrade finishes for armor, so you can try to push out and bully these Mutalisks with your Goliath.
Yeah, Bojack is definitely staying on the mutas. He's continue to produce them, but he didn't get an upgrade, which I find weird. So if you build more than 11 mutas, then definitely get an upgrade.
He is now starting his armor upgrade, it looks like.
Ah, okay. Just a little bit later than I expected then.
So we'll see if the Terran decides to push out or play more defensive. I think definitely this bottom left base is super exposed, so this Vulture will come in here and maybe be able to kill some drones before the Mutalisks get down here, and that might give the Terran a timing to push out and even destroy this bottom left base because of how mobile his Goliath army is and how strong they trade against mutas. Yeah, good damage from this one Vulture. He's got 5 kills, 6 kills.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is a scary amount of Goliath at this timing with that +1 armor. Let's see if he decides to move out. He's got 3 factories, building a 4th factory. Bojack building around the drones now to kind of replace those drones he lost. He's counterattacking with his Mutalisk, trying to force those Goliaths back in the defensive position. There's only a few turrets. What was that?
The Goliaths aren't fighting, they're going.
Yeah, the Goliaths haven't turned around. They're just going for the natural of the Zerg.
Goliaths are really bad against Sunkens, but against one Sunken, this amount of Goliaths will still be fine. The Mutas are coming, but that's more Goliaths than their Mutas, so...
Yeah, and these are kind of panic Sunkens.
Yeah.
And it looks like those Mutas are getting shredded by the Goliath with their armor upgrade and those Charon boosters.
And the Muta armor upgrade is just not done, so if he had built it when I said that he should have, then it would have been done
For that
the
fight.
attack.
Yeah, but these Mutas do actually, I mean, these Sunkens do actually save the day, force the Goliath down to this bottom left base. But there's pretty much nothing to defend it here. He's going to try to build some Sunkens, but the Goliath will get here in time, I think.
There's no way.
Yeah, and the +1 attack now is going to finish for these Goliaths. So some nice upgrading here we're seeing from the Terran player. And the Zerg is a little bit slow now, and GG.
It's a fair GG timing. If you lose your third base like that, it's really hard as a Zerg player. I think that it was really ballsy to take that base and never defend it at all. Because, I mean, against mech, you know they're vultures and they're gonna check where you put your base just to know. And if you don't have anything there, then you're gonna lose drones. So it's
I think that risky. I think that Mass Mutalisk build is really strong, but you gotta use your excess minerals to build at least a few Sunkens at each base to protect against vultures and to slow down Goliath if they get there without you knowing it. And then you can have enough Mutas to fight the Goliath head on if you kind of mass expand. But there the Zerg, I mean the Terran was able to move out before the Zerg was ready and do a lot of damage to that third base and never really get it up and running.
Yeah, I also noticed that Bojack skipped link speed in both games now. And I really think link speed is, after you start the layer with first 100 gas, the next 100 gas is almost always link speed, because once they get speed, they can actually catch vultures and fight them kind of efficiently.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you don't need, I mean, it's difficult to cover your mineral line with a Sunken, probably you need 2, and then it's awkward. But if you can have 10 links, then you can catch single vultures and maybe even pairs of vultures. So I'd really like to see the investment in link speed. So here we have, in the red trunks, Stevie, the Protoss player in the bottom right of Fighting Spirit.
Yeah, and top right we see Mars again playing, I think as pink Terran.
Yeah,
They're
definitely
just having
a girl color. Don't ask me for specifics.
And I think Mars asked, how are you doing in CPL so far? But Sini has not answered yet. I don't like talking during games, but some of these guys do talk.
I rebind my keyboard, so I can't talk. Like I have all the numbers where the letters are usually, so it's really hard to type.
Oh, okay. Even the... Wow, that's confusing. So the numbers are where the letters are, so you can use hotkeys better?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't have like 1 to 9 isn't like a straight line, but it's clump in the letter area. So it's more like a grid layout in StarCraft 2.
Mm-hmm. That would take some adjustment, but I guess it helps your hand from moving too much.
Yeah. I don't know if it's actually, if it made me better. It definitely took an adjustment when I changed that.
So we see pretty standard play from both players. Mars just taking his gas now and getting that barracks up. So we'll see, it looks like a factory expand from him. And the Protoss getting his cybernetics, not expanding also. And it looks like it might be a gateway expand.
Yeah, I'll try and make sensible comments, but there's no Zag in the game, so I'm at disadvantage here.
Well, we don't really know what the Protoss is doing right now because that cybernetics has not finished. But he has sent out a pretty early scout, right? So maybe he's trying to do some early pressure. The Terran has taken guys off gas, so he most likely will be playing defensive and getting that factory up, and then maybe taking expansion. Yeah, and there's the range upgrade from Protoss, so this is pretty standard what he's doing now. We won't see too much cheese from him.
Yeah, but he didn't build any zealots. He went straight for dragoons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's another sign that he's playing defensive.
So the worker counts between Protoss and Terran, should they be similar when they produce at the same rate, right?
Yeah, I think usually Protoss can get away with having less workers, but I don't know exactly how many. Usually they both cap at around 65, I would say.
Yeah, but until then we can look at the workers produced and praise them if they have one more than the other.
True, that is a factor.
So Terran is already building his command center on location,
Mm-hmm.
so he will maybe surge ahead in that worker game.
Yeah, we see
Meanwhile, the Dragoons are here and we're gonna start working on the bunker maybe.
Mm-hmm. And we see that second gateway going down from the Protoss. So he might try to be aggressive, but it looks like there's already a bunker constructed, even constructing it before the command center. And he's got siege tanks out now, so it's gonna be... Oh, and he's going for a vulture after this. So if the Protoss can wait until he gets, you know, 4 goons out, he could take out this tank pretty easily. But this tank is gonna chase him off now, it looks like. And he's hiding his tank under the barracks.
Oh, the SCV in the natural. It's so brave.
Yeah, it is very brave with that 5 HP. But the goon has stopped chasing it. Now it comes 2 more goons, but they're just going right past it. And there goes the dead SCV.
Yeah, so Protoss wanted to take the expansion, was delayed a little bit by the brave SCV.
This is a brave move from Terran to push out like this against a 2-gate. With only a few Marines. He does have 2 vultures, and he's pushing back these goons pretty well considering. And he's getting
Laying
these
mines
vultures
in the
out on the map.
reinforcement path.
Yeah, that's wise because there is no observatory yet from the red Protoss.
Yeah, and he saw that. He saw the whole tech and the Nexus go down.
He needs to block this ramp, and now the vulture gets into his base, and he's going to be able to lay mines in his base.
Is that priority? Ah, he still gets a full scout, so that's fine. I would have thought the scouting is priority. The mines are just bonus. But I guess they can do quite some annoying damage. So I'd say the Terran is pretty pretty good in this game. He already has 4 workers more, so that's good. He has his expansion done, and he didn't take a lot of damage, and he got a good scout, so... And he's taking his third. That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
That's what Protoss should do, not Terran.
Yeah, if he gets away with this third expansion that he's building on location right now, he's going to win the game, I think. He's in a pretty commanding position. But he's just relying on really 2 mines and that earlier push to kind of force the Protoss to play defensive until he gets obs out. So if this pays off, if he's able to take this expand and defend it before observers get out, he's going to be in a commanding position. He's already getting his upgrades, getting that academy, building more tanks and siege mode from his 1 factory. He's going to want to add on more factories, because getting 3 bases off 1 factory is super greedy.
So the observatory is done. And the first observers are in production. I don't think there's one out yet.
Yeah, and he's going for a citadel. So maybe we'll see, you know, the Templar tech into arbiters and some speed zealots. If he did any kind of 2-base attack now, like a shuttle with some zealots in it, he could easily take out this 3rd base. But he doesn't even know it's there right now.
Yeah, maybe he'll scout it with the observer. But it might be too late at that point. But he's moving out on the map. I think he's gonna kill some mines first. Sadly, the SCV production has halted from Mars, so he's getting caught up in the worker game. 43 to 42, even though the Protoss only has 2 buildings with which to build workers compared to the 3.
Now there is that 3rd base coming up for Protoss, and it's all the way in the bottom left. He decided not to expand to the bottom middle, which is kind of unusual for Protoss. Maybe he just thinks expanding farther away is going to be easier for him to defend. But I think it's just more room you have to cover with your vultures.
Yeah, I'm missing some vultures that are active on the map and scouting around. But I guess he has scans also.
He's going full just 2 factory siege tanks, so I think, personally, I like to play with vultures, but he's just going straight for siege tanks and playing defensive on these 3 bases, which seems to be working out for him. So the Protoss is really just content to sit on his 2 bases and expand to the 3rd eventually. Yeah, he must be getting faked out by this kind of ninja expansion here in the top middle, because he's just sitting at the normal expansion point with his observer and he's not seeing anything. So he must think he's actually ahead when he's kind of not.
But isn't Terran usually a base behind? I mean, doesn't
Yeah,
Protoss
no,
take a 3rd
Terran's
really
ahead. The Protoss has got an observer at the 3rd location for the Terran, and he doesn't see anything, so he doesn't know how far behind he is right now. And now he's gonna know.
So he sent 1 Dragoon up into the 3rd, and he knows that there's a base there now. But so far there's no reaction. These probes are going in
Where are these
direction.
probes going right now? That's my question.
He's gonna take the 3rd there, build a million cannons all at once. You don't actually need multiple probes to
You only need 1 probe. That's the thing about probes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why he's mining from this base. Maybe he feels like he has too many probes to effectively mine from other locations. I don't know why he's doing that.
Maybe he should send them to bottom left, because there's still some saturation to be had there.
Yeah, I don't know what that play was about. It has to have been a misclick.
Watch them go again. It's a scouting technique.
Okay, now one probe is gone. He must have selected 12 when he meant to select 1.
Really weird.
Really weird. I haven't seen that.
But now let's see, what plan does Mars have? He's building his 4th command center at the 3rd base. So I guess his plan is to take all of the bases.
Not a bad plan.
He's researching EMP.
Yeah, his upgrades are pretty on point. They could have been a little bit faster, but considering how many bases he took and how many tanks he produced, he's going to be happy when his upgrades finish here and he gets 2-1.
So the Arbiter builds really slowly, but it's on the way. Has a 3rd done already. So I guess Protoss is just waiting for that before he pushes.
Terran's hitting a strong timing here. He has a lot of tanks. And there's really not enough speed vultures out. And there's actually vultures doing a drop at Protoss's 3rd base, but the DT is there to clean up. DT's clean up drops really well. But he needs to get these goons over to his main army now, or he's gonna have too little to try to fight this Terran push, which is pretty scary. It's got a lot of tanks. And Protoss needs to either attack or pull. He's kind of just sitting there.
Yeah, he's getting boxed in there. He should have moved out on the map and contested the push more actively.
Yeah, I agree. He kind of needed more observers, or at least to have his army out on the map to back up those observers, because now Terran was able to just basically push to that bridge, and now he's contained and he's getting sieged down by those long-range siege tanks. He's trying to do a bust now.
Yeah, the upgrades on the Terran side, the 2-1 is finished, so that's a big plus for the tank against Toon. And the EMP lands on the Arbiter that is just spawned. He's hiding all of the units underneath, but there aren't any. So now it looks really good for Protoss.
Yeah, for sure. The Protoss is on the back foot here. It looks like there's not a lot he can do. He could try to go for a recall maybe, but that Arbiter getting EMP'd puts him in a bad spot, because now he has to fight into these tanks. And he's getting his 3rd taken out too, though the DT is doing some nice damage. It gets picked off now.
He's losing it on all fronts. In his bottom left base, he's also got siege tanks there that he can't stop. And in his net there's an unstoppable amount of units.
Yeah, he's losing his natural. He's only really got this Arbiter because there's no Goliath out on the map for the Terran. But he's setting up his own 4th base in the top left, and it doesn't look like the Protoss is ever going to be able to get over there. So Terran's definitely in a commanding position now, and he's going to be able to take out this bottom left base. He doesn't even need to push into the main, but he might try to here.
Overall, I would say it was a really nice macro game from Mars. A little bit cheeky how he took the 3rd, but Sini just didn't scout it good enough and wasn't able to punish it. And then when the macro engine got going, it was really hard.
Yeah, if Sini... Well, the way Mars played that was really smart, that he got mines out on the map and then was able to take his 3rd because of the late observer timing. But if Sini had kept being aggressive after his 2-gate and tried to contain the Terran, he might have been able to get away with it and actually play more aggressive and deny that 3rd base of the Terran.
Yeah, he even had 2 Dragoons on the far left for quite a long time.
Yeah.
If he just moves those around, he might discover the base.
Yeah, that was kind of unlucky that there were those two Dragoons that could have, if they were camped at that third, they would have been able to deny it.
Vehicle base is fine. It has a cannon, so it's safe.
It's not enough. He could build 10 cannons right now.
Yeah, a lot of minerals and gas, but it's hard when your production buildings get destroyed.
Wow, look at those probes in the main too. So I think he's gonna have to call it here soon. There's really not a lot he can do. He's losing his third base. Maybe he thinks he can expand to this middle right base, but I think that's gonna get taken out pretty easily once the Terran finds out about it. And he's even in danger of getting pushed into his main now because there's really nowhere else for the Terran to attack. And there's a good game called by Zini.
I think he was just importing the map name. It's fighting spirit, so he showed us his fighting spirit.
I don't blame him for that. I don't mind people when they stay in game. I think it's a bold move. Definitely respectable.
Yeah. So that's the first 3 games.
Yeah.
Guess that's half time because there were 6 uploaded by this group.
Do you want to take a break? We're 1 hour in, or do you want to keep going? This next one is a TBT, so it might take a little while longer.
That's no problem. We can continue.
Alright, let's continue then. This game I think is Mars versus West Coast Marines.
Okay, I'll write it in the chat. In the bottom left, in dark blue, we have the Terran player West Coast Marine.
And in the bottom right, again wearing pink, we got the Terran player Mars.
I wonder if he chose that color or if it was randomly assigned.
I mean, to get it 3 times in a row, I think he chose it.
Okay. I won't make gender assumptions. That's not what we do in this year.
In 2020.
Yeah. For quite some years, we've stopped doing that.
So judging from Mars, he's so far 2-0, right? And he's played pretty well. So I think he's shown good games so far. But West Coast Marine, he did lose that TBZ where he was kind of ahead and then didn't really follow it up with a correct Marine medic attack.
Yeah.
But still, that was some nice Wraith control, so maybe he'll go for Wraith again.
Is that a thing in TVT?
Yeah, definitely. You can play Wraith. You can even play 2 Starport Wraith off 1 base. But that's kind of a little more cheesy. You're just hoping to kill him outright almost, and hoping he doesn't have Goliath or turrets out in time. But there's a wall going down. It looks like for the Terran? No, he can't wall like this, Mars. Now the blue Terran West Coast Marine is building a barracks out to defend his natural though. So maybe he's trying to put on some early aggression with his first Marines.
But it wasn't an 8 Rex or something like that. Probably he just wants to wall in his natural and expand quick. That's what I would think.
Yeah, he's taken his gas. He didn't get a very early barracks, so we'll have to see what he does with this. It is closer that maybe he can just lift off and it'll get to the opponent's base easier. That's always one reason, but the amount of travel time for that SUV, I don't know. I don't know why he did that.
Okay, so Mars is going for the factory before Marine, so he doesn't have any Marine yet. Where the second one is building for West Coast Marine. After all, his name is West Coast Marine, so he needs to represent.
Yeah, he's got to go Marines every game.
And he's on the West Coast. On the left side, anyways. So it looks like a move to try and catch the scouting SCV there with the Marines. That's clever play.
Yeah, definitely 2 Marines can chase off an SCV. 1 Marine the SCV can almost ignore. But let's see, he kind of missed micros of his Marines, and the SCV does get in and see there's no expansion right away. But an SCV is already headed out to expand, so...
Block. No.
Oh, it does not block.
I thought it was a really good idea, but he shouldn't have moved his Marines. Just stand still and let them
Yeah.
shoot.
He moved them like slightly to the right and created that pathway for the SCV. But he is taking his expansion at the location, whereas Mars is taking his on the high ground. So his expansion might be saturated quicker, we'll have to see.
Yeah, in this game we can definitely do the worker game because those are the same races.
Yeah, so what are we looking at? Mars is ahead on by 2.
Yeah. So far so good.
Yeah, definitely more in the mid to late game is when you see those worker counts kind of varying. And you see who's able to keep macroing during the battles, which is always important.
Yeah, but right now there's no SCV in production, for example, for West Coast. That's definitely a mistake. Because he has the money and the supply. No reason not to build workers.
Yeah, I agree. Those little differences or small mistakes can add up in StarCraft, but definitely not insurmountable to be at a slight worker disadvantage in this game.
Yeah.
So here we got a tank and 2 Marines moving out from Mars, which I think is really risky because this could be lost to mines, this could be taken out by vultures. Somehow he must know what the Terran has and that he can fight it, but there's actually 2 tanks out for West Coast Marine. So if he gets this second tank in the battle... Uh-oh, now siege mode hits are going off on this tank, and he barely survives with 5 HP because the Marines are attacking that barracks. Now he just needs to go in with his tank, and he can kill all of this if he targets that tank first. But not targeting that tank is really hurting West Coast Marine. And here's an SCV out to repair the tank, and this could be kind of brutal for West Coast Marine now. He's put on the defensive. He only has that 1 factory, second factory getting an add-on. There's still no second factory added on for Mars, but he is getting a starport. So he's building a Wraith.
There's 2 armories building for West Coast Marine.
Oh no. Yeah, he is building 2 armories, so that must have been a misclick or something, because you really only want Terran attack in this matchup, I think. You don't really need armor.
Yeah, Mars is really taking the position now and boxing West Coast in, and TVT is often a very positional game, so the person that manages to siege up first is usually in a great advantage.
Yeah, you're
And
definitely
Mars is
right
sieging really
about that.
forward. Yeah, yeah.
And West Coast Marine is floating back his barracks to try to get some vision again so he can maybe try to push out, but he doesn't have enough tanks right now to do any kind of aggression, and he's going to just lose his barracks to the Wraith, the 2 Marines, and the turret that Mars has been able to save against this kind of thing. So Mars is going to have all the vision and a good position. So this is a great spot to be in as Terran in the early game in TVT. If you can basically contain your opponent and not let him push into you, and keep a Wraith out to stop any dropships, this could be brutal.
Yeah, and it all comes down to that micro mistake right at the beginning of the game, where West Coast has 2 tanks against the 1, And it's 2 Marines against 2 Marines, but his Marine attacked the floating barracks, and his second tank is idle on the side.
Yeah, he could have actually won that battle pretty convincingly, but instead he's boxed in, and even though he has fewer factories, the other Terran is able to contain him. Here we see Mars almost ahead of schedule. He's denying this third base, which West Coast Marine almost has no intention of taking right now because of how boxed in he is.
Yeah, it's interesting how that one situation makes it that it's really, really grim already for West Coast Marine.
Yeah, TVT, any mistake can be punished, especially in the early game. You can lose very quickly.
Look at that, it's the same color. You must be picking it.
Okay, so here I sped up to where we were at before. Again, the Blue Terran West Coast Marine is kind of contained in his base, with Mars sitting outside with all of his tanks. So West Coast Marine really can't have this many add-ons right now because he only has 2 gas, and he's trying to build a starport. So Terran needs, I think, to make a starport play here and go for drops. That's really his only way of continuing if you're West Coast Marine. And Mars can just take the whole map, which he's already taking the middle right base. So he can just expand wherever he wants right now and just get even more ahead on army and supply.
Yeah, it looks like Mars is gonna go up 3-0 here. He's playing really dominating in this game, I think. We'll see if Marine has any tricks up his sleeve if he'll ever manage to leave his natural.
Yeah, West Coast Marine is now pushing out of his natural, but his army is just dying instantly, it looks like. And there's GG called out by West Coast Marine, so it looks like Mars does go up 3-1 as you had said.
3-0.
3-0, you're correct.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know all games, but the ones we saw, he won.
Yeah, so far he's been undefeated.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's only, I think, 2 games left for us.
Let's hope for another Zuck game. Maybe even a ZVZ.
No, I don't think there's any ZVZs going on in this group. We'll see.
Damn.
The only Zerg we've seen is Bojack, right?
Yeah, so far. We've seen... Have we seen all of the players?
We've seen Bojack, Zini, West Coast Marine, and Mars. Is there anyone missing?
We need 5, right?
Yeah, most groups had 5.
Maybe one of them is inactive or something.
So in the top right, we got Zini as the red Protoss.
Yeah, and in the bottom left, we have West Coast Marine as... what is that? Pink?
It looks like purple.
I don't know colors in English, really.
Yeah, I think they call it purple.
I think in German you would say violet. So it's
Oh,
maybe
violet? Yeah,
Yeah.
that could exist.
So this time we have cross positions. Let's see if that comes into effect. I think generally you say that Protoss enjoys cross positions because the push of the Terran takes longer and it's easier to delay.
Yeah, and if Protoss, if they're in cross positions and they get both of the mains, as Terran, you're pretty much like, it's over for you. Or it's going to be really hard for you to win. Especially on this map, I would say. So we see the Terran, who's again West Coast Marine, and it looks like he might go for a wall here in the bottom left.
Yep.
Which is a wise move, I think, if you're playing against Protoss, because you never know when they're going to go for a gateway in the middle and just stream zealots into your base.
Yeah, the question is, are you able to close the wall if that happens? I'm not quite sure on the timings, but he definitely needs another building to close the wall.
Yeah, that's true. If they get a probe in there first and they're able to slow down your wall and maybe even build a pylon where the wall is supposed to be, you can just die still. So
yeah,
that's something you got to watch out for if you're a Terran player and you're trying to do a wall.
Yeah, when I watch Artosis play against Protoss, then he often does the barracks very close to the CC and the first depot so that he can micro his marine against zealot pressure.
Yeah, I think that's more common than walling off. I think at lower levels, though, when you can't really micro those marines as effectively, going for a wall is a strong play.
Is this already zealot tight?
Yeah, I think this is zealot tight and maybe even zergling tight. I don't know, that bottom right looks like it's kind of exposed.
Yeah, there's some bones on the floor, at least in the carbot graphics. Let's have a look. It's also bones in the real graphic.
Yeah.
What else is going on? The Protoss is getting range.
Yeah, and
That's
he's got
pretty normal.
3 pylons in his main, so that's one way as Terran you can find out that Protoss is playing standard. So Terran is getting in here and getting a scout. All those 3 pylons are very close by. There's a second gateway. So again, I think we saw this from Zini before, the 2 gateway.
Definitely a little bit sad that he didn't manage to kill that SCV before it scouted, and then he even showed his hand with the second gateway before killing the SCV.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he's concerned about hiding what he's doing. The Terran, it looks like, is saving up for siege mode. It might be siege expanding, but he is building up to, it looks like 5 marines, maybe even 6. Yeah, just 5 marines right now. And 2 siege tanks. So West Coast Marine might be doing like a strong FD, or he's just gonna take an expansion with tanks. But he's got to be careful against this 2 gateway pushing into it.
Let's have a look at the micro.
Yeah, if he loses this tank, it's pretty much over.
So Zini doesn't really want anything to do with it. Usually you would see the Protoss taking pot shots
At the Marines,
at the
yeah.
SCV and the Marines, yeah.
But because it is cross positions, like you were saying, it's a lot harder for the Terran to push, and the Protoss has kind of surrounded his forces now and is cutting off reinforcements.
Yeah, second tank isn't quite sure if he should go or not.
Yeah, that second tank might just get cleaned up in the middle if this push dies. Some nice micro from the Protoss keeping his Dragoons alive, and he kills that tank. And he's now got 5 Dragoons, and this tank is going to have to retreat, the second tank from the West Coast Marine.
Yeah, then the Nexus is done for Zini, and he has a 5 worker advantage. Maybe he should transfer some from his main, but otherwise it's looking good economically for him as well.
Yeah, and the expansion just starting now for West Coast Marine. So I think he pushed out a little too early with his second tank not quite with his army. Oh, some big mine hits. Oh, that feels bad as Protoss. Now your whole army has just, turned into blue goo.
least it sinks in relatively fast. You don't have to look at it all game.
Well, the Protoss went from being ahead to now he's kind of contained in his base. He only has those 2 Dragoons and there's Terran Vultures with mines out. And so he kind of has to sit until he gets observers. But he's building a 3rd gateway. And he has got his expansion up way before the Terrans. Terran trying to push here with only a small amount of units. And I don't think that's wise at this timing in the game. So he's going to pull back.
Also, the probe production has been pretty good by Sini. He's now up by 8. And he seems to be producing 2 probes most of the time. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, now... So now it looks like Protoss has 5 gateways. Please pause, so they're experiencing some pausing too.
So the probe was picked off that wanted to go for the 3rd. So the macro of the Protoss player is a little bit delayed.
Yeah. It looks like those 2 vultures did a good job of harassing that base. Still, the Protoss has a large amount of gateways, so he's going to be safe against any 2-base play, and it looks like that's what the Terran is going for. The Terran has stopped mining gas in his main, or he's only got 1 SCV on gas in his main. He's getting an academy, he already has an engineering bay, he hasn't built any turrets, it doesn't look like. So the Protoss expansion was delayed, but it's going down now. He's getting his Citadel, it's just finishing.
Sini is ahead by 4 workers, but no, 2 workers. But in his natural, there's 4 idle workers, so I guess he's not ahead.
And he's losing his probe
There's
now
also an idle.
at the 3rd, but he does take out a vulture. And he's moved some Dragoons down there to try to stop the incoming vultures at his 3rd. And these vultures don't look like they have speed yet, so these Dragoons should trade very well against them. Taking out 3 initially. The other 3 are not running, and they're going to get taken out too by these Protoss Dragoons.
Next mine. Kaboom! Quite a good mine.
Yeah.
But it was only 1, so it couldn't kill so many.
Some good splash damage though. And the Terran is taking his 3rd base on location, and he's able to get it up and running now, so he's going to have to transfer some SCVs, but this is a good timing for him that his 3rd base has actually finished around the same time as the Protoss 3rd base. So again we see Zini, it looks like kind of even on macro, when he would want to be like a little bit ahead.
I don't know what Zini is doing with his workers because they're just not rising anymore, so I guess he considered to stop building workers. But now he's transferring almost all of his workers from the net to the 3rd, so the natural has 4 on gas, on minerals. Tad low.
And it looks like he's trying to expand to that top left base, but that gets taken out by a vulture, his probe there. So I would say the Terran's in a good position. He's slowed down a lot of these expansions. He's staying on top of his macro. He's not upgrading right now though, which is going to be a factor as this game goes on.
And let's see, the Protoss is trying to push towards the 3rd base, and there's only 1 tank. There's mines and the wall, but is it enough?
These Zealots doing a good job of soaking up the hits, but the SCVs come down to block. There is a bunch of depots in the way. And Protoss has a good group of Dragoons at his 3rd, which he has not brought into this fight. He takes out 1 tank, but then is forced to retreat. Kind of not a good trade for the Protoss there, I gotta say.
Yeah, I feel like he should have focused down that depot. I don't know if repair could have stopped they're falling, and then once it's open, yeah. Also, of course, if the attack would have been a little bit earlier before the wall was up, because the way Terran took that expansion was very low on units.
Yeah, if he brings all his Dragoons now, he could try to bust the front here, but he's bringing his Dragoons into the bottom right. Maybe he'll try to expand there now.
So Stini's sending his units into the bottom right main, while West Coast Marine his units in the top left main.
West Coast Marine trying to lay mines around these Dragoons. Stini doing a good job microing out of it. Does lose one Dragoon, the other Dragoon only has 22 HP. The Vulture's trying to get into the main, but they get picked off, and there's a group of Dragoons just kind of sitting here in between the second and third bases for the Protoss.
It feels a little bit like the units are not organized very well. There's all these small groups of Dragoons. I mean, I guess you want to be able to pick off the Vultures, but you can also wall off with pylon walls, and you don't need to park army.
Yeah, I think 4 pylons and 1 Dragoon would have been enough here to hold this base from the Terran Vultures.
Yeah, and there's on the right, there's some Vultures, and there's on both of the ramps at the third, and some of them in the middle there. I'm not quite sure if Stini even has all these units
Hotkey.
organized.
Yeah,
hotkeyed and knows where they are. I guess he's content with macroing up and just having units everywhere, be safe against the Vulture harass.
He'll need to combine his army eventually though, as Terran is massing up and getting his upgrades from double armories, but he's only getting +1 attack right now. And Stasis has just finished for the Protoss. He's getting recall, he's getting arbiters. He's staying on, it looks like 7 or 6 gateways, which is pretty low. But he's taking that bottom right, he's building gateways there, so he's actually up to 9 gateways now. Here comes the push from Terran though, it looks like. He's at least pushing across his bridge, sieging up there. So he's forcing the Protoss to retreat, and there's a big mine hit.
But I like that Stini has some units there, so push cannot just move along the map. It has to siege up and slow down.
Yeah, I would like to see Zini now combine his army to try to combat this push.
Yeah, he's bringing over some of his stuff.
Oh, and he's got an Arbiter out, and there's no Science Vessel in sight. So he's got a pretty good surround. He needs to bring in his units from the left. Kind of not good timing here from the Protoss, as he retreats one group and moves in another. All his Dragoons on the right side of the map have died, but an unsieged by the Terran, and now he's surrounded on 3 sides by Dragoons and Zealots with the Arbiter on the right, and now he's sieging up again. Oh, this is brutal for the Terran. He was so ahead. Now the Protoss got basically a perfect engagement, and they're going to trade armies here, which has reset the Terran tank count, which is never good for Terran, especially when your upgrades have not really finished right now. And there's a lot of Protoss just camping in the middle of the map now. Terran needs to sit and mass up again. Yeah, and now Terran's a little late with his scans and getting pushed back here by the Protoss. And Protoss can just replenish their army so quickly compared to the Terran. Again, some nice mine hits. It's hard to push across this ramp as Protoss, but we'll see if he wants to macro up, take another base, or just try to end the game as quickly as possible. Here he goes in with these Dragoons. Oh, and a nice stasis down on some tanks and vultures. He's keeping his Arbiter alive, but he's losing observers. He does have a lot of observers right now, though. And his Dragoons are getting right on top of the tanks.
That's looking really good. The tank number is very, very thin now. But it'll be close. But the reinforcements will make it not so close. The number of tanks coming in cannot match the number of Dragoons coming in.
Exactly. I think that's a key point. Dragoons just replenish so much faster than tanks, so there's only a few tanks out right now. And they just got stasis, so they're kind of exposed. And now there's the good game called by West Coast Marine.
Nice. See me with 109 APM, but gets the job done.
Okay, so now we're in our last game, which is a Zerg vs Protoss Bojack against Sini.
Sounds good. Okay, so we have a Zerg again. Hip hip hooray. In the top right, Bojack, our blue friend.
Yeah, and in the top left, we got the red Protoss Zini playing as in the top left base as Protoss.
Yeah, okay, I'll pop away quickly to get some water, but then looking forward to this game. Be back.
Okay, so we're gonna see a Zerg versus Protoss. Now, a lot of times what you'll see is a fast expand with a forge from the Protoss. So we'll see if that's what he goes for here. It's a pretty common build. He's sending out a probe right away now at 7, so it looks like he will do that forge expand or maybe a gateway expand. The Zerg can decide how he wants to combat this. Does he want to go for an earlier pool? Does he want to take a lot of bases? There's the pylon going down, so this looks like a forge expand or gateway expand. You can tell that because the pylon was initially placed at the expansion. And now the probe is scouting the correct way, so it's just going to get into the Zerg base right away. Zerg sending his Overlord down to the bottom right. So the red probe enters the blue Zerg's base, sees the spawning pool, sees no expansion, sees that he's just been droning up. Pretty standard stuff at this point in the game. The Protoss has placed his forge, so it looks like a forge expand. He'll have to build some cannons to defend against early Zergling pressure though from the Zerg. And there's a cannon. And there's a drone scout coming out from the blue Zerg. Sini has got a pylon. He might try to pylon block this expansion. He's got a probe out there. Welcome back.
Okay. Looks like some cheeky cannon rush on the Zerg natural. But the pylon is built so close that must be in vision.
Yeah, I think he was trying to pylon block the hatchery. I don't know if he placed it in the right spot though. Maybe he will. No, he does not cannon rush, which would have been crazy. Oh wow, he got the Zerg to somehow cancel his expansion though. That was bizarre.
That was a misplay.
A misplay. Oh no, and now he gets the pylon blocked off. So Bojack's in a lot of trouble now, it looks like. Maybe he'll just go expand to that middle right base.
Yeah, it looks like it. 6 links though. Protoss only has 1 cannon up. 6 links can kill a cannon, so we definitely need to see some blocking there.
Yeah, which that expansion is not up yet, so it'll be hard for the Protoss to have enough workers to block. Here's his gateway going down, and he's bringing workers over to block ahead of time. But the Zerg is not moving out with his Zealots right now. I mean, with his Zerglings right now. And he is taking that middle right base. So he's going to try to get back in this game with a kind of eco play.
Yeah, and there's still no gas taken by the Zerg player. He's continuing to build more Zerglings. So I guess he wants to bust. With only 1 cannon there. Once those links are there, it's definitely something that will work.
Yeah, this could be a quick game for the Protoss if he does not construct another cannon.
At the top above the gateway, links can even pass. You need 2 units there, not only 1. Now he pulls it away, so it's completely open.
Yeah, so this could be it here. Oh, and the Zergling's getting right on that cannon right away.
Yeah.
And now, I think if he takes down the pylon, there's pretty much nothing the Protoss can do.
Yeah.
Protoss is trying to rush out a Zealot, but I think that pylon will fall before the Zealot is built. And there's nothing now the Protoss has that can fight, except probes. And there's enough lings that the probes cannot really trade effectively.
There's a cannon building in the mineral line of the main, so if that gets done, then Protoss can play on 1 base, I guess. I mean, the Zerg has very low drone numbers.
Yeah.
But the links get on that cannon as well and are able to cancel it.
Yeah, and this looks like it for the Protoss. Very sad way to lose, I think, if you're Protoss, but maybe he didn't scout enough, he didn't see these lings coming, and he didn't really block his wall off.
Yeah, he definitely need to scout it, because blind building a 2nd cannon and keeping probes in the wall all the time is also not the solution. You need to go out on the map, you need to be proactive with that probe.
Wow, Zini just left without good game, and
It wasn't good.
he waited a long time. But yeah, it wasn't good. He lost very quickly. I wouldn't blame him.
Yeah.
Okay, so was that all the games for us today?
I think so. So the tip for Zini is, as long as the Zerg doesn't have Zergling speed, you should always try and scout with probe. And even if it dies, try and get the 2nd probe out, scout.
Alright, well that concludes our games for today. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching. And yeah, sorry about those technical difficulties, but I think it was a good cast. We had some great games, especially from Mars, showing some impressive Terran play as he went 3-1. 3-0, sorry.
Yeah, and if anybody has any tips for my casting, that was my first cast ever. So you can write at me Lingipumpe on the CPL Discord, just send me